Hello everybody, Michael Cheek here again. Now if you was with me for my first video, you saw how easy it was for me to paint this little scene here using my new KANVAS coat. And I used KANVAS coat turquoise to apply to my canvas, and you've seen how easy it was for me to paint on it. The paint moves and blends right on that dry canvas, and canvas coat is a base colored primer that you apply, and it allows you to paint on it without using any paint medium. So today is going to be just a continuation of the painting that we did yesterday, and actually this paint here is already dry and I'll be painting right on the dry paint. So I thought I would show you how easy it is to go back in and add some highlights to the background trees. And I also want to show you how to paint in some rocks down here against the water line, and I may brighten up this grassy area right in here for you. So I still have the paints that I used from the first session, titanium white, ultramarine blue, have alizarin crimson on here, cad yellow light, and I added one color, burnt sienna. We'll be using that. I probably won't be using the alizarin crimson today, but I'll be using the white and the blue and the yellow and the burnt sienna. So this technique here that I'm going to use is probably a little different from the way that you've probably highlighted trees, and I'm going to use my little low Cornell shader brush here, and I'm going to pick up just a little bit of ultramarine blue right on the bottom left corner, and I'm going to go over here to some of my yellow. Let me use a little bit of fresh yellow. I may exaggerate this so you can see it good at home, but load that paint on the bottom left corner of the brush. Once I load it on the bottom left, I'm going to turn my brush over so the paint is now on the top right of the brush. Hold it up there where you can see it. Let me put my palette down here. Now in the other video, I know my arm and my shoulder kind of got in the way some, so I'm going to try not to do that today. But let's go back here somewhere, maybe right along in here, and working off that right corner of the brush, I'm going to push upward and kind of drag down in a comma stroke. Push and drag down. Now I'm going to pick up just a little bit more of my yellow. That's probably not showing up as well as I would like for it to. So I want you to be able to see it good at home. So let's go back up here and do again. Just push up and kind of drag down underneath. And I'm letting some of that dark show through. You don't want all your dark to go away and leave you. But again, push up and drag in a comma stroke underneath, and then sometimes I just go back and stroke back over it some. Might go back up here and just kind of blend this out just a touch. And as I work down, I just kind of let it fade down into the dark. Now I'm painting a little brighter here than I normally would, just so you can see it, and I'm going to go up here and maybe do this one in the same fashion, just real quick. Bring it on down to the bottom of that grassy area there. A little more paint here. We'll go over here and maybe do this one. So look how easy that's going on. And again, I'm working on top of dry paint. Go over here and do this one. And I'm kind of staying over here. I hope my arm is not getting in the way. We don't want these left out over here, so I'm going to go over here and put these in. But look how easy that the paint is flowing on right over top of the dry paint. You know, sometimes it's hard to get the highlight that you need when you're working on top of wet paint. Now, I could go in and highlight a few of these a little bit brighter. If some of them's too bright, you can just take the brush and knock them down a little bit. I'm going to wipe the paint out of my brush a little bit here and go in and just knock some of this down just a wee bit. But that easy, I went right along there and just highlighted those trees in no time. Now I see a few that might need to have a little dark put back in, so I just add a little more ultramarine blue to my brush and get a little more green, and maybe just go back and highlight just a well, not highlight, but darken just a little bit there on some of those tops. Got a little bit too much highlight up there. But just by pushing the brush, do these here, darken them up just a hair. A little more of my blue. Come over here and darken this up just a little bit. Okay, now down here against the grass line, I may come in here and throw in just a little bit of dark, just right at the bottom of these trees, just so that my grass will show up a little bit better. And let's put just a little bit more highlight on that grass. I'm going to go into my cad yellow light and a little touch of my titanium white, and I'm going to bring my brush to a chisel edge, and I'm going to go right up in here somewhere, right kind of in the middle, and just kind of pull down a little bit and just brighten up that area just a tad. Maybe where the light is striking. Maybe bring a little more out down in here. And just gently blend some of that out. Now, how cool is that? It looks really good. Just tap just a little more light right out there to the end. Okay, you can see how we brighten that grass up a little bit. Now I'm going to switch to the low Cornell flat natural bristle brush, and let's put in some rocks down here at the base of the water. And with that, I'm going to use burnt sienna and a touch of my ultramarine blue. I'm kind of making a dark mix here. Now in making rocks, you don't want to paint in your rocks in a round shape. A lot of my students, they want to paint round rocks, and after a while they start looking like baked potatoes. So we don't want baked potatoes out here next to the water, but what I generally do is come in here and do some hump shapes, and I'm going to make one kind of large right here so you can see. I just come in here and just make like a little hump shape, and then I just kind of fill it in the bottom, and we're just going to zip along through there like zippity doo dah, and throw us in some more little rocks using the little hump shapes. Now I'll not try to get all of these just perfectly, and what you want to do at home is not line them all up in a row. Kind of have some irregular shapes. A little more of my paint. And that'll help give us a little bit of a base for our rocks there. So I'll just kind of wipe my brush out. I'm going to take some of my burnt sienna and some of my white. Now this again I'm going to kind of exaggerate just so you can see. Now I'm going to load my brush, load my paint on the bottom left corner again, and then I'm going to turn my brush over so my highlight color is on the top of my brush. And let's go in here, and I think since the light is coming from the right, you'll want to highlight on the right hand side of the rock. So I'll just go in here, kind of push it and let it drag down into the rock a little bit, and then just kind of soften it, soften the base a little bit. A little more of my color. Come back in here and do this one. You can just say rock, 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 and there they are. Go up here and throw a little highlight on that one, and just right along the base there. Look how easy that is. Now when you're at home, you have unlimited time to kind of work with these. But here on the video, it's I've got to hurry a little bit. Alright, I think you can see what I'm doing here, how to highlight those rocks. And if you want to go back and maybe highlight one or two a little bit brighter, go back and pick up a little more titanium white and throw it in. And you don't want to highlight all of them, but you will want to highlight a few of them. So I'm going to clean that paint out of my brush, and I think I want just a little bit stronger waterline here. So I wiped my brush off. I'm going to go to ultramarine blue and my white here, and I'm just going to get a blue color, a bluish white. And I'll be working off the flat of the brush, and I can just come in here and zip in a little bit more of a waterline there that shows a little bit brighter there. So I think that will show you how to highlight trees and to do some rocks and highlight the grass a little bit. I appreciate you watching. I hope you'll visit my website, www.paletteCreationsbyMichael.com. I have lots of pattern packets on there for you to choose from, and I hope you'll visit my products page and check out my new canvas coat. I think you'll enjoy using that. So with that, I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you next time.